Welcome back to American Agenda. All right, first AOC, now Rachel Maddow. It's time for The Other View. MSNBC's ultra-progressive host Maddow telling fellow left-wing cable outlet CNN she's worried former President Trump could put her in a camp, her words, if elected in November. Maddow saying, quote, What convinces you that these massive camps he's planning are only for migrants? Scary, right? And she's not the only one. Reporter Brian Stelter says news organizations are worried that the former president could punish the media. Watch.
Think about IRS audits. Think about government pressure on media companies. Think about other forms of government interference. There are a lot of pressure points. And frankly, Rachel Maddow is not the only member of the media thinking about this. I've talked to the heads of news organizations, CEOs of media companies that are thinking through, not in dramatic fashion, not because they're afraid of going to jail, but because they want to know what could Trump do to use his power in a second term to punish the media.
Sounds pretty dramatic to me. Joining me now to discuss, the host of Money Talk with Melanie, Project 21 volunteer, Melanie Collette, pretty in pink. Newsmax contributor Deneen Borelli and the host of Newsmax contributor Deneen Borelli. Beautiful. In purple. I went so fast. All right. And the host of National Report, the one, the only, Emma Reckenberg.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
And I don't actually call you Emmy, but I might.
I love it.
Yeah.
Look, this is so silly, right?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, Rachel Maddow doesn't work for the New York Post, so she doesn't have to worry about being censored about a laptop that, by the way, it doesn't look so good for the leading then Democratic candidate for president. So I don't think she has to worry about any sort of camps should Trump return to the White House.
It's just crazy because, I mean, we talked about earlier this week about AOC saying, oh, she might be thrown in jail, trying to reference something, you know, the lock her up, which had nothing to do with her, about Hillary Clinton. But also, you know, Maddow, of course, being worried about being put in a camp. You know, it seems, Deneen, that their talking points, though, we heard Brian Stelter also, they're eerily similar, these talking points. It almost seems together. I am not a conspiracy theorist at all, like not at all. But is this intentional liberal fear-mongering, especially when you have Rachel Maddow, who works for one network, going on another network to kind of talk about this preposterous, extreme, hyperbolic fear?
I guess they all got the same memo. This is nothing but scare tactics, fear-mongering, and propaganda. This is what they report on a regular basis. So this really isn't anything new, and I'm not surprised. So they're going to continue to attack former President Trump because that's all they got. They know his policies resonated with Americans. They know he's popular. He's gaining in the polls, fundraising, you name it. All they can do is demonize and try to scare the viewers.
Yeah,
and that's why their ratings are so horrible, because they don't report on the news like they should.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're more afraid of how bad Biden looks at this point rather than actually being scared of anything former President Trump could do if reelected. But speaking of the left, we'd love to talk about them. A new poll reveals that 70% of Americans believe that politicians use transgender issues to distract voters from the issues that really matter. But that's not all. Only 16% of those polled believe that an increased focus on transgender issues is good for the country. Melanie, where do you stand on this? Do you think liberal politicians are using the trans issue to distract from, I don't know, inflation, the border, crime, the list goes on?
There are several different things. And what they're going to do is they'll take, you know, a person who has, you know, issues and problems and is in the minority, make them a victim and say, look over here, let's take care of this person. Look over here, let's take care of that person, and turn these people into victims. And I think it is absolutely a distraction from all the things that you mentioned that are going on. And you know, I think it's also a lot of projecting going on from the left when they talk about the things that that Trump might do when he gets back in office, if he gets back in office. I think it's those are the things that they would like to do to conservatives, and so they're thinking this is what we would do. So this is probably what he'll do if he gets back in office.
That's a really good point. They're maybe revealing what they would want to do to conservatives. All right, let's move on to this. The city of San Francisco has become the third California city to declare itself a sanctuary city for transgender people. But that's okay, fine, no big deal. But check this out. That means that teachers in San Francisco, Emma, do not have to reveal the gender identity of kids to parents. Why are progressives so intent on making parents the enemy?
It's a shame, and that's why people are leaving California. That's why parents are putting their kids first and deciding they need to go somewhere else where that's not the case, where there's an open communication between a teacher and a parent. Because I am concerned for the young teenage girl who lives in the suburbs of San Francisco or just outside there, and she's going through a tough time during puberty, and she's being told by adults in her life that maybe you're just the wrong gender. How about we call you by a different name? How about we not tell your parents about what's going on in school? And the true devastating impact that can have on her life going forward.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, imagine going through a surgery that cannot be undone. I mean, these are irreversible changes.
Irreversible, and creating a problem for someone's entire life. And I think that's scary. Want to move on to this. We talked about the Olympics, got to get to it. Transgender athletes and how they should be, according to the Olympics, portrayed in the media. So new Olympics media guidelines, we know it's coming up real quick, Summer Olympics, say it's harmful and problematic to refer to trans athletes as either biological males or biological females. The International Olympic Committee suggests this. Instead of writing, she's the next Michael Phelps swimmer, you should say she's an extraordinary athlete. All right, here are my 2 cents. First, who made the IOC the arbiter of what's right and wrong? Second, biology is not debatable. I don't care what you identify as. And also, Deneen, free speech, telling media outlets how to talk about athletes? What is going on?
It's insanity, but we're seeing this every day across the board on a regular basis. I guess I won't be watching the Summer Olympics when they're in Paris this year. I mean, this is just crazy talk.
It is crazy. Final answer, Melanie, Collette.
It's very Orwellian what they're doing with the speech, and they've been doing that in the classroom for quite some time. As you guys know, I taught in New Jersey, and that's been a thing for a while, and that's another example of the speech situation, trying to get teachers to say and do things that they don't necessarily agree with, call students by different genders in the classroom and call them by a different gender when you call home. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's controlling, and it's a very, very bad thing. People need to wake up.
It's just getting out of control, and as you pointed out, Emma, really, really dangerous, especially for young kids. All right, Melanie Collette, Deneen Borelli, and Emma Reckenberg. Power panel indeed. Thanks so much for joining me on The Other View this afternoon.